NFL stole the Lord's Day
They
just
make
right out
everybody
from
stand up. For the Pledge of Allegiance, they make you stand up for a national anthem, and it's like, but there's no politics in sports. Like, give me a break.
Exactly. So there's not a good faith
God forbid
argument.
you take a knee, too.
Right. Like, you win a championship, you go to the White House. Like, what are we talking about here?
All right. The world may not need another podcast, but it can definitely use a
slap.
Yes, all right. Welcome to Slap the Power, the show where we bring together artists who use their powers for progress. I'm Rick Barrio Dill.
And I'm Aja Nikiya.
On the show today, the Oscar nominations are out. And yes, I know, it's super fun. We got a lot of it for you.
And then we're going to talk about some Super Bowl.
See, super fun. I know that's your jam.
Oh, it's totally my jam. I'm the biggest football fanatic there ever was. But you know what? It may not be the Super Bowl I'm interested in. There's another type of bowl that I want to get into.
Oh, wow. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, looking forward to that. We've got Pause for Progress, where we get specific progress on our furry friends. And this one is Super Bowl related as well. And
then we have our interview today in studio with Andrew Robinson. He is a pro athlete, an entrepreneur, creator, storyteller extraordinaire. He's just fascinating. So can't wait to talk to him.
Yes, Andrew. Shout out to Andrew. Can't wait.
Yes.
And then, of course, what's a good chocolate cake without some spinach? We got to talk ice raids. Ice raids, and I'm not talking about snow cones.
Yeah, can't leave that one out.
No.
And then, did you hear about the scammers that are utilizing fake news videos for blackmail in Nigeria?
Whoa.
We got to get into that one, too.
Wow, I did not. Okay, well, this is chock full. But first, quick housekeeping. I don't know if you've heard, but some of the coolest water that is going nowadays is called hippie water. And it's a new adult beverage. It's a refreshing non-alcoholic seltzer that has 5 milligrams of Delta-9 THC and 30 calories. It is hippie water. You can discover it at hippiewater.com or find at Total Wine in Florida, Texas, Arizona, and a boatload of more states coming online. Go to hippiewater.com if you can't find it there, and make sure to use the code HippieSlaps for 15% off.
And then, Rick, speaking of hippie water, just wanted to ask you if you've heard of women in the nude yet.
I have, and it's always a great question. It's never really a wrong question.
No,
have you heard of women in the nude?
No, but see, I'm talking about the podcast.
Yeah, I know.
With Sasha Pierce.
Yes.
That's the one. The one. Sasha takes a deep dive into raw, real, and inspiring conversations that peel back the layers on life. It is perfect for listening if you love bold stories, meaningful moments, and women in the nude. I mean, it's literally where they bear all except for their bodies.
Hey,
I love it.
Yeah, no, go make sure to find that anywhere you get your podcast. And also, if you want one of the funniest takes on life and the seedy, degenerate world of being gambling adjacent, check out Gambling Mad with Norman Chad. If you do not know Norman Chad, you are missing out. He is a World Series of Poker and ESPN legend and one of the funniest, wittiest, and smartest guys I know. Make more money, lose less, and just be smarter. Find Gambling Mad with Norman Chad on your podcast player or go to gamblingmadshow.com. Yes. All right. Here we are. It's this time of year, the Oscar season. I know. Beat up on us all you want. Crazy. I love it. I mean, it's one of my favorite times of year because it's just this town is built on magic, and it is. Sure, everybody getting together to kind of talk about all this magic that was made, but what's wrong with that? I think that's killer. Everybody loves magic. Kim Jong-un loves the magic that we produce here.
I
mean,
we
if
need
you're hating
magic
on the
right
Oscars, I don't take a better look because we're just trying to have fun and make things out of thin air.
Agree. And I mean, this year had so many great movies. We had Wicked and then The Substance.
Yeah. Did you see The Substance?
I have not yet. And I know it's on my homework list.
Amazing.
I've got to do it before the Oscars come out.
It's super awesome, right?
I keep hearing such good things.
Yeah, it's 40 minutes too long, in my opinion, but it's awesome.
All right.
40 minutes.
What's that?
Give me another 40 minutes.
You want more 40 minutes?
I want more
you want
substance.
Asher wants another 40 minutes. I love it. All right, well, and we're going to break down our favorite films nominated for Oscars and give some shout outs to some people we thought were snubbed. I mean, there's a lot. There's a long list on there.
Yeah, I saw there's some serious drama going on with Emilia Perez apparently, and the cartel the way that they were portrayed. So I can't wait to get into that. But what do we have for Best Picture nominations? What are we looking at?
Yes, Honora, The Brutalist, amazing. A Complete Unknown, amazing. Conclave, amazing. Dune Part 2, which I didn't see. I know, don't come at me, but it's only because I was supposed to see this. I wasn't allowed to see this alone, so I haven't had the chance to see it with somebody I promised it to. So, but Amelia Perez, which is, it was a shock to the system, and then I was just kind of blown away with the art and the boldness and the approach of it and everything. And then there's also I'm Still Here, which is what is I'm Still Here, Asher?
I haven't seen that one yet.
I know it. I'm still here.
I know. I'm trying. I know I've seen the coming attraction for it. Like I've seen it.
Yeah. Nickel Boys, The Substance, and Wicked. You see Wicked?
Wicked. Everybody knows Wicked.
You see Wicked?
No.
Come on.
I know.
Come on.
I know, and I know what you're thinking.
You get caned in this town for not seeing Wicked.
I probably will. That's why I cover my window in my office. You know,
you go.
I gotta stay safe out here.
Stay safe. They're gonna cane
I gotta
you for
catch
not
up
seeing
this
Wicked.
week. I promise I'll catch up on all these Oscar nominations. I promise.
Yeah. Well, Oscars 2025 is March 2nd, and let's get into the big one. Is Amelia Perez, and if you haven't seen it, and for those who haven't seen it, we're not going to do any kind of spoilers or anything like that. But it's sparked controversy for its portrayal of cartel violence in Mexico, and critics argue the film lacks sensitivity and context, leading to accusations of cultural insensitivity. Additionally, the film has faced review bombing on Rotten Tomatoes, further fueling debates about its reception. I'm one of those that I love pushing the boundaries because I'd rather see that than another Marvel film. And I love Marvel.
Yeah.
Again, I love Marvel. Keep putting out great stuff. It's just when everything kind of falls into that category for it. I sometimes you go really far out on the edge, and I look back at things like crazy movies like Brazil or
Brazil, wow,
like Time Bandits.
Well,
and shit,
I'm still tripping on Handmaid's Tale.
That's it. Yeah,
I'm still replaying that one.
They should make that a movie out of that too.
They really absolutely should. Can we talk about Super Bowl, which is just literally right around the corner?
I love it.
If it wasn't for Asher putting this on here, I wouldn't even know who was playing. That's me being honest. But apparently,
Asia doesn't know how to spell Super Bowl. But
what is Super Bowl?
Super Bowl.
So not my thing. But I do appreciate the sport. I also appreciate Puppy Bowl.
Hell yeah!
Which gets me real excited.
Me too.
But before we get into that, because you know what? I feel like that's like a pause for progress thing. I'm going to skip over it. Let's talk about what's happening at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans for Super Bowl. We've got John Batiste. We've got Kendrick Lamar, SZA headlining the halftime show. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be killer.
Yeah, it's killer.
I'm not going to miss this halftime.
No.
Okay, so from the sports fanatics in the room, who are you all rooting for? Anybody?
I don't know. The only person that I would trust to make this decision in here is Andrew.
Yeah. Who you going for, Andrew?
So I feel like I'm a Commanders fan. So my team just lost. So I'm heartbroken because I don't want to root for the Eagles, but at the same time, I don't want the Chiefs to win again. I'm tired of seeing them winning.
Okay, got it.
To make myself feel better, I feel like we got two black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So
hell yeah.
It's a win-win for me.
Hell yeah. Okay,
like
now that gets me excited. So now I'm on board again. I'm on board again.
Yeah.
And what about the halftime show?
I mean,
I've seen Kendrick. I'm gonna say that was one of the dopest concerts. So I'm pretty excited about this. I don't
understand. Maybe we'll get into this with Andrew when you have him on the interview. But why is Lil Wayne not there? I just don't understand. I don't understand. To me, that's a disqualifier if you're going to have it in New Orleans, unless you're going to pull a rabbit out of a hat and he's like got a he's going to do some kind of come up out of the bottom of the floor, But you got to have. How do you have something in New Orleans and not have Lil Wayne? I don't get it. But I'm a massive Kendrick fan. Obviously, we're LA.
Yeah.
He's West Coast, and so I'm looking forward to it. But what was your favorite halftime show ever? Do you remember?
Oh man. My favorite?
You're waiting too long. There's only one correct answer. It's Prince. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. All right. Yes,
Sorry.
Prince.
Sorry.
I was going down the line, but yes, you're right. You're right.
But I did like Dr. Dre. That was
the
great.
Dr. Dre one was pretty dope.
Yeah, and that guy that shall no longer be referred to.
Yeah.
The dog father. That's all I'm going to refer to.
I didn't mind the JT one, but also there was the whole scandal involved and just kind of made it, a whole thing.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, because it's hard for me to even get past Prince. Just In the Rain, 3 guitar solos in the first song. Like in the first song, man, who does that?
No, he's ridiculous.
Does that? Come on, man.
No, you're right. You're right.
No. Sorry. It was also just I'm one of those. I'll bowl you over with my love for Prince.
I am here for it.
Yeah.
I'm not a Super Bowl person, so like I've missed half the shows, to be honest with you. And the most that I've paid attention is getting back to our Pause for Progress update.
That's because you're busy doing ish.
It's because I've been busy doing ish.
Busy doing ish.
But we do have Puppy Bowl. So I don't know if everyone knows about Puppy Bowl, but there are at least 2 million viewers that do.
Yes,
Puppy Bowl goes on during the halftime, which is why I've been busy not paying attention to the halftime.
No, you've been doing the real work. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But we've got Buster and Sky this year. They're on Team Rough and Team Fluff.
Yeah.
It is the cutest freaking thing you can ever imagine. It's a bunch of puppies playing Super Bowl. And it is just ridiculous. They're throwing footballs around. They're just playing on the field.
On different teams.
On different teams. We do the filming every year. This is our 4th year involved. 3rd year with players on the field.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody needs to root for Buster and Sky.
Buster and Sky.
Yes,
That's it.
Buster and Sky.
You hear that? Buster and Sky.
And you can't really root for one side or the other because I've got 2 kids on each team. So you can go Fluff or Rough.
Yeah, either way.
We'll forgive you either way.
The world is your oyster. You can't lose.
Exactly. We can't lose. We're just winning in this Super Bowl.
Yeah,
so,
Yeah, and the Puppy Bowl, and kind of like the Puppy Roll, where one of the principal points is to actually sort of help find dogs homes.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And it is all rescue dogs, which I'm really proud of Animal Planet for doing that. So it's all rescue dogs. They do a lot of, promoting of these animals, the ones that are available for adoption. So it's great. And tons of viewers. We've had Snoop Dogg has been the host every year with Martha Stewart. So, I mean,
All right, that's good. When we come back, we're going to get at Andrew, and we're going to talk all things cooler than what we were just talking about.
Hey.
Gambling is part of the culture of America, since even before we were America. I'm Norman Chad. I know gambling. I've played blackjack and poker. I've bet sports and horse races. I've even hit the slot machines at a Pahrump, Nevada 7-Eleven. You say gambling, I say gambling mad. So join me on Gambling Mad with Norman Chad, wherever you find your podcasts. Follow us on socials at Gambling Mad Show or at Gambling Mad Norman Chad at YouTube.
Let's take a quick break.
Anyone out there feel like the issues of our time are insanely important, but getting argued to the point of stupid?
Or how people hushing artists online are missing the whole point of artistry?
Not to mention the First Amendment. Welcome to Slap the Power. With so many batshit crazy issues coming at us each day, we need to help each other figure ways through this chaos that is living in the age of the internet.
Not to mention AI.
It ain't easy, and that's why we are here to help. I'm Rick Barrio Dill.
And I'm Aja Nikiya. With each episode of Slap the Power, we bring together artists who are using their talent and personal stories to ignite awareness, spark conversation, and mobilize support for today's most pressing issues.
Through art and advocacy, we are amplifying voices that inspire change and create through their content.
Whether it's important information you might have missed, special guest artists and creators who challenge the discourse through their work,
or maybe you just want to follow along as Aja saves as many dogs, squirrels, and yes, even cats as her army at Compassion Kind can save.
So join us every week as we discuss real-time issues from a local and global perspective and discuss how, as artists, we can make a difference by banding together in small but tremendous ways.
Sonics.
Love.
Action.
Progress.
Slap the power. Everywhere you get your podcasts or get it delivered free to your inbox at slapthepower.com.
All right. Welcome back from the break. We've got in-house today Andrew Robinson, the one and only creator, entrepreneur, pro athlete, all the things. We're so excited to have you here today. We've had the pleasure of having Andrew in the office, quite a bit in the studio here and there, but this is the first time he's been on the show. So, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Long time coming. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no kidding. It's great because we started working together on your podcast, and we're going to get into that. But the premise of our show is artists that are using their powers for good and for progress. And I love the fact that we just get to turn to you, our brother, and be like, talk about what you do, because it is legit that. So yeah, for those people that don't know, introduce yourself.
Yeah, my name is Andrew Robinson. Born and raised in Maryland, Tacoma Park, Maryland, to be exact. Have an identical twin brother. Fun fact. I don't know if you all know that. You guys know that?
I know that. I know that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So identical twin brother who grew up with me, obviously, my whole life. And he is a coach now for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So he's doing his thing.
You heard of him? You heard of the Cleveland
best team in the NBA right now? Check them out.
Hey,
check them out.
You heard of him?
But I've been playing overseas now for 4 years, and I like to think of myself as kind of an athlete, but kind of a creator, just creative in general. I have my own podcast that I do, and I like to create content. I like to really just express myself in a lot of different ways. So I try to do that through different mediums, whether it be social media or modeling or podcasting, things like that. But yeah, I feel like, 2025.
This is an audio medium. He is very, very sexy. So you might want to pull over and make sure you go to the YouTube version of this.
Check me out.
We'll make sure we have his
boy.
face on the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got you.
She appreciates you.
Yeah, man. You're a model, man. Hey,
Hey, sing the Ready to Mingle. Check me out.
I know. I didn't have that in my intro, but now I'll start including it.
Yeah.
My bad. So something that I feel like we've always connected on from the beginning is just talking about the intersectionality of creativity and what you do, what we do, and how we're all trying to move the needle forward using all of, we're artists, we're musicians, DJs, models.
Humanitarians.
You the model.
Professional basketball players.
Content creator.
I know.
Look at her outfit.
She
you know what I mean?
be downplaying.
She got the red lip on. Don't do that. Yeah.
All right, you guys can't see if you're just listening, but I'm blushing now. I'm just going to cover myself. No, I am not a model, but I could be a model citizen, maybe.
You're humble.
Yeah,
it's okay.
she's very, very humble.
Whatever. It's fine. Moving on, I have some questions. No, but speaking of intersectionality and creativity, I just wanted to get into this a little bit because we haven't really dove, really far deep into this conversation.
Yep.
But how would you define intersectionality, and how has it shaped how you conduct your storytelling? How does it play a role in what you're doing creatively right now? Yeah,
for sure. I think it kind of goes back to 2020, around when the NBA was kind of in a bubble season, and obviously also it was like George Floyd and a bunch of different social justice things were going on. And I remember a lot of NBA players were protesting and speaking up on the things that were going on. It was also an election season. So one of my favorite player in the NBA is LeBron James.
Hey.
And so I love LeBron. I love what he stands for, and his whole thing of more than an athlete is his whole mantra. He started uninterrupted on that same thing, more than an athlete, and has a production company with Spring Hill. And so for me, that kind of inspired me, just looking at him and the things that he does outside of basketball, acting and doing Space Jam and all these different things. But specifically, it was something that happened during that time where LeBron was trying to do all this voter drive and getting people out to the polls, and they were protesting in the bubble, and they were having messaging on their warm-ups and all that kind of stuff. And there was a Fox News reporter, I think her name was Laura Ingraham, I'm pretty sure was what her name was.
She's not a reporter.
Yeah, whatever.
Don't give her that much.
I really didn't even want to say her name.
Don't even give her that much.
Yeah.
I didn't even want to say her name, to be honest
she's
with
an
you.
outrage hack, but go ahead.
Literally.
Yeah.
But she caused a lot of commotion because she was LeBron, all these athletes, you guys should shut up and dribble.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was her thing, the whole shut up and dribble thing. And
Yeah.
she said the athletes shouldn't be concerned with getting into political statements or voicing their political opinions and things like that. And they should just shut up and dribble and, be our entertainment, you know? And so...
You know what it's simply what it's, first of all, none of it's a good faith argument, because it's trying to stifle your power.
Yeah.
But yet
And
politicians should be involved in politics.
Exactly.
It's
It's
like,
just,
what are you even saying?
They are scared of your power. They're scared of of the voices. So,
Yeah, people are so hypocritical, though, because they say, oh, shut up and dribble, stick to sports. But then if you look at, like, the NFL, for example, every game, before the game, they roll out the flag and the national anthem, and they do the plane flyovers, and it's like,
where does that,
what?
Where does that make sense?
It doesn't even add up.
I love what they said in Concussion. Like, they literally stole the Lord's Day, and still, people are still amazed by it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
NFL stole the Lord's Day
they
just
make
right out
everybody
from
stand up. For the Pledge of Allegiance, they make you stand up for a national anthem, and it's like, but there's no politics in sports. Like, give me a break.
Exactly. So there's not a good faith argument.
God forbid you take a knee, too.
Right. Like, you win a championship, you go to the White House. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
So, long story short, I say all that to say, like, for me, that was something that I was seeing, and I was growing up as an athlete, and I was like, that's what society wants us to do as far as athletes. They want us to just play basketball or football, whatever sport you do, and they want you to stick to that, stay in that
just
lane.
Shut up and do,
So for me, I think I always pushed against that because I saw a lot of different areas in life that athletes could contribute. At the end of the day, we have a lot of influence as far as like being on TV or followers or kids that look up to you. So for me, I always felt like I had a responsibility to pour into other areas of my life, whether that be creatively, socially. Like, I think that kind of always inspired me to try to get involved. So I think as I gotten older and had an opportunity to have my own platform and figure out ways that I could contribute myself, I think that the whole idea of just intersectionality really spoke to me. And I never wanted to be a person where it was like, oh, what do you do? And it's like, oh, well, I'm an athlete. Or what do you do? Or I'm a content creator, or I'm this. I feel like if people ask me what I do, I don't even really know what answer to give them because it's like you do a bunch of different things, So I like that. That's the culture that I feel like people are leaning a lot more into today.
Yeah.
And I don't think you have to be one thing. You know what I mean? I think even if you're not an athlete, like people who have 9 to 5s, right? Like you have your 9 to 5, and then you go home and you're a mom and you're taking care of your kids. Right. Or you go home and you might have a passion project that you pour into, whether it's photography or whatever the case may be. I think that at the end of the day, everybody should have something that they just are passionate about, that they pour into, that is separate from the things that they may do to make money. So
it's such a good point, and I just to touch on that, because I feel like I've struggled with that my whole life of like, what do you do? And what are you? And I'm one thing, and I've got one hat on for one thing, and then in the next minute I'm doing something completely different.
Right.
And it's funny how people struggle to see you in like different areas. Like I run into it all the time with being a rescuer. People will be like, if they see me like DJing an event or something, they're like, oh, but don't you like the question is, but don't you rescue animals?
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
I'm both.
And I also do that. Right. Or they'll see me like salsa dancing, and they're like, "Oh, but I thought you were a." I'm like, why are we so constricted?
Right.
Like, I can be all of those things.
Yeah.
And you can pull, and I, growing up, it was always like pick one thing and be really, really, really good at it, right? Yep. Like that was the thing. You have to be one thing, Aja. You can't be this, you can't be that. So it was either I was a dancer or I was this, but no, you can be everything.
Yeah.
So I like that you brought that up, because I feel like I've always struggled with wearing a lot of different hats.
I almost feel like, everybody kind of has to be to some degree. And if you're where we come from, we're trying to be artful with our lives, however we can best be, because we all are artists of our own life, right? Rick Rubin, and I think in that aspect, letting anybody tell us or tell you or tell one what you are or are not is, ultimately you're the artist, you're the painter, in that. And that what I love about it is, on some levels, I wish I could only have one thing to focus on, right? Because I have 2.7 billion things going on, right? Every day, and it's stressful and it's overwhelming and stuff like that. But I also don't know that I would have it any other way, because we're at this place where we're trying to do things that are meaningful to us, and connect with us and help people, and just, to whatever extent we can. And, speaking of that, the podcast is called "What's in Your Bag."
Yep.
And what inspired that? You
Yeah.
know, because everybody's got a bunch in their bag, but what inspired that?
Yeah. I feel like, shout out to you, man. You know, you got a little, I feel like you're cultured, you know what I mean? So I got to respect that. 'Cause I feel like a lot of people, in basketball, it started, it was kind of like people will be like, oh, well, what's in your bag? Like, if somebody has like a bunch of moves that they can do between the legs and step back, his bag is deep. Like, so it's like a sports thing, you know what I mean? Like, how creative are you on the court? So it's kind of like a thing that people just kind of say in passing. But so for me, what inspired the name was like, when we first started the podcast, we were talking to mainly athletes. So we had a couple of NBA guys on, overseas athletes, and I wanted to know what's in your bag, like outside of sports. You know what I mean? So like, what are you inspired by? What things keep you up at night when you're not in the gym? You know what I mean? Like, what passion projects are you working on? So for me, that was literally like my inspiration. And sometimes we would have guests on, and I'd be like, hey, like, so let's say you're going out to the club, or you're going out with your friends. Like, what's literally in your bag? Like, what are you bringing with you? You bringing the chapstick. You know what I mean? You bringing your phone charger. If you're a woman, you bringing your taser, your pepper spray, whatever you got. You know what I mean? So.
Bring a Glock.
No, literally, whatever.
So there's like a literal sense to it, but then also like all the plays on it.
Right. It was more so just like what are you into outside of basketball? Because I feel like people look at us as just athletes. You know what I mean? And I think especially at the NBA level or at the professional level, it's almost looked at as a negative thing if you into other things, because they say, oh well. You know, it's a distraction if you like photography, or it's a distraction if you like to play video games or stream or whatever. So for me, I was trying to shine light on the fact that, like, at the end of the day, there's only so many hours you can spend in the gym, right? I could be in the gym working on my game for 4 or 5 hours, and I still got 19 more hours in my day to divvy up in other things. So I think that being able to encourage that and kind of change the narrative around that was important to me, because that was something that I experienced, like, in my playing career. Like, coaches giving you like backhanded compliments on things that I was doing outside of basketball, or just being very passive aggressive around the things that I was doing outside of just coming to practice and playing in games. So for me, I was trying to just be a part of like changing that conversation around athletes and really embracing like athletes as a whole. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, like, we're humans, we're individuals, and we're whole people. You know, we're more than just what goes on between the four lines, or, you know, the baseball diamond, or whatever sport you're playing. Yeah.
Now, you started All Facts Media, which, you know, tell us about that, and what, you know, kind of what your inspiration is there. Where do you see it going?
So I mentioned I have a twin brother. And so
from what team again? I forget. It's the
Cleveland Cavaliers.
The greatest team in the NBA.
Cleveland Cavaliers. Check them out again. So I always tease my brother, because I'll tell him he wants to be just like me. You know, I'm like his biggest role model. He looks up to me. You know what I mean? So Ace, if you're watching this, you know, I know I'm your role model, but, you know, I gotta let the people know.
Okay.
So
you're flexing up in here. I like it.
What's your brother's name?
Aaron. Yep. Ace, I know you listen to this. Yep.
Aaron Roberts.
Looks just like him.
Yep. So I always tease him, because I say I picked like journalism first. Like my sophomore year of high school, I took journalism class. My junior year of high school, I was an opinion editor for my school newspaper. My senior year, I was a sports editor for my school newspaper, and I always knew that I kind of wanted to go into like media, sports reporting. Then in college, my brother hopped on the bandwagon, followed in my footsteps, and decided to major in journalism. So, but it was funny though, because when we were in college, I played as a historically black fraternity. Shout out A.I.C.E, the Alphas, you know what I mean? So I was the chapter president, and like that kind of took away some of my media like time I had to devote to that. So my brother actually like kind of passed me a little bit, like in the media stuff. He was like super involved in our student media organization and doing shows and all that kind of stuff. But we both ended up graduating with our degrees in journalism from Quinnipiac University up in Connecticut. It's like half an hour from the ESPN studio. So
we had the better GPA.
Me. I think I was 3.8. He might be like 3.6 something. Fair. We're both good students, so I gotta give him his credit.
But you know, there's one winner.
Only one. You know, I'm far superior. You know. So we had like state of the art, like it was kind of like this. We had our studio, we had cameras. Like ESPN was like 30 minutes away, so we could do internships there, and a lot of our classmates were like interning at like NBC and all these great places. So we graduated. And we ended up going to a HBCU for our last year to play. We had one more year of eligibility, and we went there together. But I only know, a lot of people may not know this, but a lot of times HBCUs are like severely underfunded. So we don't have a lot of the same resources as a lot of these PWIs. PWI is predominantly white institution that I went to before. So we didn't have a communications program at Coppin State University. There were no communications master's programs. We didn't have studios, like camera equipment, any of that stuff. So we were like, well, we just got this amazing degree in journalism. We know we want to work in the media. How are we going to be able to network, and how are we going to be able to keep our skills sharp in order to break into the industry? So we decided to start our own thing. So we started All Facts Media, and we started to just kind of cover sports in the DMV. I covered the Nationals' first World Series when we won baseball back in 2019. Nice. We were debating each other, and that's kind of how it started. And we started our podcast, interviewing college coaches, and then it kind of grew from there. And then when my brother took the job, he was initially working for the Clippers. That's kind of how I came to LA initially, was to visit him when he was with the Clippers. He kind of had to get out of the whole media space because it was kind of a conflict of interest with like the coaching and the media and like talking to college players. It was kind of like a no-no. So he kind of had to go the coaching route, and then it was kind of just me. So from there was when I kind of rebranded it from kind of more of a college basketball podcast to more of like a creative lifestyle podcast to what we're doing now. So, and then as far as where I see it, I kind of want to continue to use it to have conversations that are different from kind of the mainstream media you would see on like ESPN, where we're talking about just sports. I kind of want to continue to expand upon the conversation that we're having now, storytelling and just inspiring people that look like me, come from situations like me, who may not have a roadmap to get to wherever they're trying to go in life, whether that be you want to be a professional athlete, you want to be a content creator, you want to be in the media, you want to be in the corporate world and, be a doctor or a lawyer. Like, I think a lot of people just need a roadmap, and they need people to be able to inspire them and hear from people who are doing the things that they're trying to do. So
and hitting the problems that everybody's hitting. I mean, we were talking about it before we went live here, but actually, our live people probably heard our people that are on our YouTube live or whatever. Yeah. But we were talking about it ahead of time, how there is a shutdown on all federal funding, and it's in the name of the thing that is startling to me is it started with the bishop that said that asked the president to be humane, have mercy, ask for empathy, and it became this big giant. How dare you ask for empathy? I'm like, what? In what theological sense is that not just a shared principle? Why do and then they're coming in saying that it's political on our part when they're literally, again, it's not a good faith argument, but shutting down all the federal funding and things. This is where, in the name of DEI, when did diversity in America be wrong? When did equity? When did things being equal be something to be celebrated to getting rid of equality? That's the thing that it startles me, because people may have voted for him, but they didn't vote for this, and we knew it.
Right?
Yeah, we knew it was coming. We knew this was coming.
Mountains.
So it's very, very, obviously frustrating for us. Yeah. But to continue to level this false argument, that's the kind of stuff where I feel like professional athletes are some of the most important people, to be involved in this stuff. And it's the same thing when literally one of the reasons why I started this company was because I caught shit for speaking out against, at the time, a long time ago, I caught shit for speaking out. It was like the same thing, shut up and play bass was literally what they told me. And then I kept getting that, and I was like, no, you haven't met me, man. Yeah, and I just think that that's just people not liking the fact that we're saying what they don't want to hear. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so for you, I applaud you for taking that on in the show, because I think I was told by our management, don't do it. You don't do it. You're going to alienate half your American audience and blah 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 blah. But that's not because of me or the way I was thinking. That's because of this, where we've been put into two teams, and it's been put into red and blue teams, right? It's not a red and blue thing. It's a class thing. It is a class thing. And so I feel like, athletes and performers and people that have leverage, props for using your leverage any way you can, because it's hard to fight back against a $1 trillion company.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So we got to use everything we can.
Yeah.
It's kind of what I feel like. So
there should have never been any red or blue. There should be no deviation between empathy, compassion, a moral standard.
Equity and inclusion.
And that's what it actually, but it kind of bothers me sometimes that we don't have just like a code of ethics that everyone lives by. And then everything outside of that code of ethics, sure, you can pick this, you can pick that, but not out of this. Just like, with the 10 Commandments, everybody abides, not everybody, but,
sure.
There has to be some kind of precedent.
Yeah.
And race.
My ride's here.
Your ride's here? Yeah. They're coming for us now. Talking too much.
Yeah. No,
but you know what I mean? Like, those shouldn't be on the table. There shouldn't even be a reason for them to be on the table because they should already be included in the conversation. Like, that's where I struggle. It's like, why are we even talking about this? Like, it doesn't even make any sense to me.
I feel like that is the art, to me, is trying to synthesize this world where we live in where, so you got Elon, he takes over Twitter so that he can spread misinformation, 200 million people at a time, in a second, right? And so the only way to fight back kind of, I think, against that is the sort of the art that's being asked of us in this time, which is, I also do think people do have a good sense on bullshit if it's presented the right way. The problem is,
I don't know if they do.
But I'm saying it's getting sold. It's being sold so well that people don't. But you don't need everyone. You just need enough people that are looking to maybe be more enlightened, right? Or something like that.
Well, there was this post I saw yesterday, and it was I didn't know that this book existed, but it's called The Cult of Trump. And it's
sounds about right.
And it's from a gentleman who studies cult behavior.
Sure.
And I think his name is Stephen Hassan, if I'm not, missaying that. But he is. I'm definitely reading the book because he's calling out as someone that he left a cult. But he shows like there's different levels of cults and different like types of cults. There's even positive cults that like allow you to be you, but you all abide by these certain things. And then there's these cults on this side. And he's like discussing in the book like the art of manipulation and the way that the information is disseminated out of Trump's mouth. And he pulls these examples that are just very, very clever. And it'll be like, the sky is green, and then I saw a rabbit, and you can turn your TV on, and that's how we save America. And everyone goes, yeah, and goes for it, even though it's a mastermind of confusion.
Yes.
So he is a mastermind of confusion and chaos.
Yeah.
That to a point where you don't even know what you just heard. Yeah. Your brain can't put the elements together. Yeah. So you just go for it. Yeah. So it's a different level of cult, and it's a different level of manipulation, and that is why he is so good. So I'm really curious to read this book. I'm all in it because I love studying dictatorships and cults and how you get people to follow. I mean, I've been fascinated by that.
Well,
for
30
years.
Yeah, and we're gonna need all the megaphones and microphones we can get, man. Because I don't know what happens if you get tuberculosis, but apparently because they shut down the CDC and stuff,
it's not good.
Tuberculosis is apparently on the run in Kansas or somewhere in the middle. There's like several hundred. What happens? I don't know, but we're not allowed to get this information anymore. How is that helping people? How's that helping anybody? How is that lowering the price of eggs, and stuff? It's not. It's not a good faith argument.
I feel like, I think that just kind of going back to your point, which you said earlier about kind of people voting for Trump but not knowing just what they were voting for.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of twofold because on the one hand, I think we have a double-edged sword, right? Because I remember when the election came out and they were going over the demographic of like who voted for who, and it was like this percentage of people with a college degree voted for Kamala. This percentage of people who were uneducated voted for Trump. And it was like, so it's clear that the people who are voting for Trump aren't like they're not getting the information.
Same information.
So there's a disconnect in that. Like how are we disseminating this information and things like that? And I feel like I was looking over this thing today about like, okay, he's ending all the federal grants and like what that actually looks like. Because people might see that and be like, the government shut down. What does that mean?
He's saving money. Yeah,
and it's like, food stamps are being cut, like student financial aid and grants.
It's not just cut; it's trying to be eliminated.
Right, like Medicaid, like education programs after school, like all these things are things that like people
survive on.
People literally, like, I grew up on, like, a lot of these things. Like, whether it was government housing, like, food stamps, Medicaid, like, all these things are things that, like, Trump is trying to get rid of. And it's like, we can say, oh, well, we knew this was going to happen, you guys voted for him. But there's a lot of people who didn't know that. Or they don't do the research to figure the things out.
Well, and oddly enough, that's them.
Yeah.
Like, I mean...
sure. Voting against your own self-interest.
They're literally voting against themselves.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the people, that are in these uneducated classes are dealing with federal aid and getting scholarship. Not in a bad way. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. But we're talking about where the votes came from, right?
You, though.
So this is just a fact.
It affects everybody because this is the part that never gets talked about is that all of that money gets put back into the economy. And it's in the form... and all kinds of different forms, but that's what keeps. It's like starving your car of gasoline, man, and expecting it to run.
Much.
And that's the point, though. They don't want it to run. They want to destroy it. They wanted to break it down. And so that's why I'm saying it's not a good faith argument. We kind of have to start shifting the argument to, okay, what do we do now?
Yeah, and I think it goes to like, so the first time Trump got elected, I remember I was obviously like distraught, like, and so when he got elected again, I was just more so. I would say I was more like disappointed and fearful for the future rather than just like surprised.
Yeah, same.
And there was this whole thing like that people said when Obama got elected, it was like obviously this huge win for the black community and like first black president and things like that. But a lot of people also felt like because Obama got elected and a lot of people were outraged by that. And it like literally set a lot of people to like the whole, people were like, oh, we're moving in the right direction, and now people had like this drastic reaction to like turn the clock back,
all the way
and then we got Trump, and I think that's what's gonna happen here. Like Trump's gonna be in office, he's gonna set America back X amount of years, and people are gonna be like, oh my God, like what did we do? And then we're gonna have to come together again and rally. And I think at this point he's in office, so us continuing to just, Trump complains, like, all right, now it's like, all right, well, maybe we need to figure out, like, how we can, people can open their eyes and see what's happening to understand that, like, this is not what we need as a country. And in 4 years, we need to do everything that we can possibly do to make sure he doesn't get a third term. Because I did see something that they introduced a bill to the House to try to get him a third term. I'm like,
they're going
so for it. I think that this is an opportunity for people to rally together and come together more than we've ever come before, and love on each other and try to be compassionate towards one another and educate one another. Like, and that's something that I even have had to do a little bit of like reconciliation for myself, because I feel like when the election first happened, I was just so angry, and like the conversation around people that I knew who either didn't vote or maybe they didn't go to the polls and vote for Trump, but they're like, oh, he did this, he did that, and I'm like, dude, like, and I lashed out with like anger, like. You know what I mean? No, and I feel like I had to kind of like even do some reconciliation, because it's like, all right, at the end of the day, these are the people who we have to find middle ground with. Yeah. Because like these are the people who might 4 years from now go to the polls and be like, you know what, this didn't work for me, and we need to change it. And so how can we have conversations with people to educate people, to bring people together, love on one another, and maybe that's the way that we can kind of have some progress.
That's the only way. Yeah. We gotta introduce love, stay open as much as we can, and just we're not, we can't expect everybody, but I know there's going to be a lot of people that are bewildered, and there are a lot of people right now that are just kind of like, wait a minute, what? And wait a minute, what?
And maybe it'll be somewhat of a wake-up call, because the other thing that I've noticed for all the time I've been on this planet is if it doesn't affect somebody personally,
directly,
unless they are in the wheelhouse of a humanitarian, extreme empathy, unless you're sitting on that side of the fight, if you're just the day-to-day person that's trying to take care of your immediate family, you go to work, you go home, if it does not personally touch you, you're not going to care.
And don't worry, that's a sad reality. It's going to knock on a lot of people's doors.
But it's going to knock on a lot of people's doors. Exactly, and I think that personal touch is what's going to happen. The sad part for me is I don't even give a shit what you do to me. I don't care. Like, I don't. But all the suffering of the people during this 4 years that has to come for us to get to this point of some resolution. That's the part that I'm like, how many people have to be sacrificed for everybody to wake the fuck up? You know, that's what kills me. I know we're going to get there because I agree with you. I feel like this rebellion, it's going to flip. Yeah. And I feel like this is all part of our, it's part of the path. We're going to end up on the other side somehow, but not without a path of destruction and devastation and mass suffering. And that's what gets me.
It just shows you, though, I think, and especially for me as like a black man in America, like it just shows you how far we still have to go in America. You know what I mean? Like people always say, oh, look how far we came. And like we have
look how backwards you can go in one day.
Like this. You know what I mean? It's like, I was in Sacramento this past weekend, and we went to a Martin Luther King dinner, kind of obviously honoring his legacy and everything that he did. And they were talking about how like, so it was a keynote speaker. Her name was Lisa McNair, and she's the younger sister of
Steve.
Denise McNair, who was one of the 4 girls who was killed in the 16th Street church bombing in Birmingham, Alabama. And her sister like still alive, telling the stories. Her parents, he's showing us pictures, and it's like. People think they always talk about how people show pictures of MLK, and a lot of times they're in like black and white, and people think in their mind that was so long ago.
So far away.
It's like MLK would have been 96 this year. Like, I just saw like my uncle was like my aunt's mom. She's like my great grandma. She's alive. They would have been the same age. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't that long ago. And people, I think a lot of times in their mind they think, oh well, America, we've come so far, and it's like moments like this are when you realize how far we still have to go as a country, as a society. Morally, and I think that hopefully that this will give people the wake-up call that like, oh no, there's still a lot of work to do.
A lot.
And so,
Well, the podcast is called What's in Your Bag? And, I think gathering these armies is what we're here to do, and it's an honor to be in it with you. We're talking about trying to combine, but, you can get it, What's in Your Bag, anywhere where you get your podcast. But we'll keep working on these Slap the Power, Slap the Network, What's in Your Bag combos, man. Let's build some armies.
Powerful.
For sure.
Love
Let's
it.
build some armies.
For sure.
Thank you for being on the show. Andrew Robinson, thank you, my man.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Thank
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate you guys.
Join me, Sasha Peters, on Women in the Nude, Season 2, where we bear it all, except for our bodies. Leave that to your imagination. My wish for women is that we strip away the fear of judgment and really embrace the full spectrum of who we are.
I don't know if you are coming to terms with being pregnant on the show.
Yeah, I think she was a little depressed. Let's live boldly and openly and change the narratives that define us.
I called my doctor. I'm like, I want to drive my car through a brick wall.
We deserve it, and there's no better time than now. Let's get out of our comfort zone and get down to the bottom of who we are.
All right, before we get out of here, after some fun, it's time for a dose of reality. And, the fun with Andrew had some reality, but right now across the United States, ICE has been raiding homes looking for undocumented immigrants. It comes in the wake of the first week back in office of DJT, keeping his promise about deportation. So again, we kind of knew it was coming, but horrific stories have been coming to light about the ICE raids, and activists have taken to social media to share people's stories and share resources, which I think is what that is the only prescription, is going to be independent media.
Absolutely.
And, so shout out to everybody putting it out there. I mean, I have to admit, some of the things I've seen just with respect to workers not showing up to work, agriculturally, just basically for fear of being deported. I saw the C-130 for like $800,000, is potentially being used to deport like 80, migrants to Guatemala or something like that. It's all for a photo op, like a dictatorial photo op, right? If you really wanted a Department of Government Efficiency to work, which you don't, it's not a good faith argument, but you would do what we've done, which is you hire Spirit Airlines for like $8 an hour, and they'll fly you around. That's what we've always done, is to charter planes for like, I think it's like $8,000 an hour, right? So if it's a 10-hour flight, it's $80,000, split it. But instead, a C-130 on the other hand is I heard that's why Colombia got mad at us too, because we were sending them in military vehicles, which is also a different thing. Like, it's one thing to send somebody on a commercial plane and you're deporting people back. It's, You know, it's another thing to do it from with military planes at like $800,000 a flight and stuff like that. You know, it just anyway. I don't know. We have our own ICE raids here. Flavor Flav I saw came out because God loves Selena Gomez. She got on and she's just being honest, and just being honest and just bawling about what we were just talking about with Andrew. And people just jump on them online, and it's just, I'm sure people will jump on me and us online, and it's I think people are better than that. And I know it's hard, but I do think people are better than that. I think the internet's a horrible place. We're here to try to make it a little bit better rather than, in any way we can, because it's got to be used. Where's my phone? It's being used. The little box has to be used for good. It can't be all bad. It cannot be. So we got to use this little box for good and the internet for good.
Yeah. I need to stay off the box because these videos are devastatingly heartbreaking that I've been seeing the last 24 hours.
But on another level, though, how are you going to know about tuberculosis breaking out about, with your neighbor having it? You're gonna have to get it off of TikTok, the Chinese server.
Something. Well, it's not going to come from Medicaid or the CDC or any source
or the
of
WHO
government. WHO doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah,
so,
all right, so when dread gets, when sort of doom scrolling gets too much, did you hear? It's a new segment we're trying to introduce called Did You Hear? Right? It's not all that original, but what is original? Cyber spiritualism and the dark side of scams. I didn't know about cyber spiritualism. Nigerian scammers from the Yahoo boys. Tell me about it.
Okay, so this is something I've known about for a long time. Obviously, I work in the continent heavily, and friends of mine will send me texts from Nigerian numbers, and I'm like, okay, this is a cyber scam. Now, the combination, also there's a lot of voodoo and spiritual, stuff going on in this realm, but I hadn't put the two together.
Yeah.
So that's what's crazy about this story. So there's the Yahoo boys, which is this group of scammers. They also call them the 419 scammers, which is basically like the code of law that they're breaking is the 419 in Nigeria, right?
Right.
So basically they contact the victims. They send them some like opportunity. You have to send like $20 in, and then you'll get $150 for something. Then all of a sudden something goes wrong, and they need $20 more. It's it's just a whole fucking scheme. But what's getting crazy now
sort
is
of like
that,
presidential Bibles and $100,000 watches. But I digress. Go ahead.
Pretty much. But
crypto. Yeah, the DJT coin.
What makes this unique is that they're incorporating spiritual and supernatural rituals into the operations, known as Yahoo Plus.
Ooh, you're bringing voodoo into it.
Yes.
It's a good sell.
And these scams are blending traditional fraud tactics like phishing and romance fraud. But what's happening is they're doing human sacrificing.
Oh, wow.
And they're taking organs. And so what's happening is these black magic, leaders are saying, oh, you need an arm and you need a foot from somebody.
Wow.
And that's going to help their scams work better.
Wow.
And we deal with black magic all the time. I mean, so in the villages that I work, I make friends with all the witch doctors. Most people are scared of them, or you're either scared of them or you're like totally into it and you believe everything. But a lot of people are scared. And throughout Africa, we still believe that a witch doctor can kill somebody, save somebody. Like it's very, very, very popular. So
does the witch doctor have TikTok? Probably not. No.
None of the ones I know.
None of the ones have TikTok. See, I was going to say.
I'm thinking about my guy Monday right now.
Yeah.
His phone barely works. But,
okay.
But, yeah, like he does some funky stuff, but I just go hang out with him and try to be on his good side.
That's
because
what I'm saying.
I definitely don't want any of my body parts missing.
No.
But it's just crazy, the level of scamming and the craziness with all of this black magic that's involved in it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really, really interesting stuff. Please stay away from scamming. It's not just Nigeria, just putting that out there. But please be aware of scams because they're getting pretty crazy now.
We're going to have to get into the witch doctor thing. I just learned that about you. You've been hanging out.
Do you want
me to?
Yeah.
Well, another time. You're going to. Okay, you heard it here.
You want to interview with a witch doctor?
Let's interview a witch doctor on Slap the
down.
Power. Oh, my God.
Oh, I'm so down.
Oh, this is so good. Yes,
I love
it. I love it.
Okay,
See, only the stuff you can get here on
Dope.
Slap the Power.
I'm here for it.
Yes. That is amazing, and that's going to do it for this week. Heck of a show. I'm really stoked. Special shout out again to Andrew Robertson for gracing us as always with his presence. And before we head out, if you get a chance, if you have someone you want to hear on the show, if you have something that you want to talk about, make sure to hit us up, DM us on Instagram, the name of future guests, anything like that. And make sure, before we head out, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all the stuff that you do. We appreciate the feedback. And like we said, we're building armies here. So we need you with the help for that. So
for the revolution.
For the revolution. That's right. That's right. And so make sure to like, subscribe, all that stuff. But you can also
foster or adopt a dog here in the Los Angeles area through Compassion Kind.
Yeah. Foster a dog, yo.
Yes, we still need you all. I'm still dealing with a ton of fire babies, a lot of evacuation dogs. We still need lots of fosters.
That's right. At Compassion Kind, and all of it you can get through the show notes here as well. So we will see you next week. Sonics.
Love.
Action.
Progress.
See you next week.
See ya.
Slap the Power is a Slap Network production. It's written and produced by Rick Barrio Dill and Aja Nikiya. Our senior producer is Bri Coorey, audio and video editing by Asher Friedberg and Bri Coorey, and studio facilities provided by Slap Studios LA and 360 Pod Studios. If you're into online power scrolling like we are, don't forget to follow Slap the Power on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, and probably Pinterest soon for access to full episodes, bonus content, and more. And if you're as full of hot takes and crazy ideas as we are, please think about dropping us a review to help boost this episode, and you can help blow up the group chat by sharing with friends, family, or random shit posters on the internet you want in on the conversation. And if you're interested in being a guest on the show, please email info@slapthepower.com.